Let's do a small math problem. Imagine two people doing the same job with the same salary of $150,000 a year and the same savings rate of 5%. In theory, their financial lives should be identical, right? Wrong. 30 years later, person A has $750,000 in hand. Not a bad number, but after accounting for inflation, it is only just enough to live a modest retirement life. But person B? Person B is sitting on a fortune worth $90 million. What happened here? What created such a massive gap? It wasn't luck, nor was it inheritance. It was the result of person B installing a completely different financial operating system. An operating system that allows them to use the very rules of the system to create an advantage for themselves. In this video, we will not talk about cliché advice. We will dive deep together and install what is called the wealth operating system. This is what will help you stop hoping for a stroke of luck falling from the sky and start creating a life in the top 1% according to your own design. First of all, let's look at the map of wealth in America. The data doesn't lie. To break into the top 10%, you need a net worth of about $1.6 million, and the average age to achieve this is 56. Want to get into the top 1%? The number is $11 to $13 million, and the average age is 62. The higher you go, the crazier the numbers become. What is the message here? Real wealth is not a sprint. It is a marathon built on the foundation of time and the power of compounding. Most of us are running on a default operating system that society has pre-installed. That operating system has a very simple process: earn money, spend on the things you want, and save the meager remainder. And then, hope that those savings will be enough. But you see, person A in our story did exactly according to that formula. He was a good citizen, a disciplined saver, but the end result was only at an okay level. That is because the default operating system is designed to keep you in the comfort zone, not to bring you to true freedom. So, how do we upgrade? How do we install the wealth operating system 1% version? It starts by clearly understanding the 5 main paths through which wealth is created. Think of these as the core modules of the new operating system. The first module, and also the most powerful one, accounting for nearly half of the people in the top 1%, business ownership. This is not just about creating billion-dollar companies. It could be a service company, an e-commerce brand, or a tech startup that got acquired. The common point is that you create value and own equity in that value. The second module, accounting for about 25–30%, is investment and capital gains. This path is for high-income professionals, doctors, lawyers, engineers, those who use their money to invest in the potential businesses of others. They don't build directly, but they know how to recognize value and bet on it. The third module, accounting for 10–15%, is savings and retirement. But don't be mistaken, this isn't about saving 5% or 10%. We are talking about saving at least 30% of your income, ruthlessly and with discipline, for decades. Think about it like this. The government by default takes about 30% of your income through taxes, and you have no choice. So why can't you tax yourself another 30% for your future? If you can't, you only have 2 choices: increase your income or cut spending to the bone. The last 2 modules are inheritance and windfalls. They account for a small portion, and more importantly, they are outside of your control. You cannot build your life plan based on waiting for a fortune or a lottery ticket. In fact, 75% of lottery winners go bankrupt after just 5 years. Why? Because they have money, but they are still running on the default operating system. They don't have the mindset to keep and multiply that money. And that is the most important part of the upgrade: installing the central processing unit, the mindset qualities. First is long-term thinking. Compound interest is a wonder of the world, but it is very boring in the first 5 or 10 years. It's like planting a bamboo tree. You water it and nurture it for years and see nothing happening. But then suddenly, it shoots up dozens of meters in a very short time. Do you have enough patience to wait for your bamboo tree? Second is relationship capital. Money is often a byproduct of quality relationships and the skills you possess. Your network is not just the people you know, but the people who trust you and are willing to cooperate with you. Third is mental capital. What skills do you have that the market is willing to pay a high price for? Programming, sales, marketing, or leadership ability? This is something no one can take away from you. And finally, risk tolerance. Not blind risk, but calculated risk. You must be willing to accept small failures to learn, adjust, and move forward. Now, let's return to the $90 million story. Once you have installed the modules and the mindset processor, it is time to activate the advanced feature, wealth engineering. This is the core difference between person A and person B. Person A, running on the default operating system, takes his 5% savings and invests it in the S&P 500. A very reasonable strategy, yielding an average return of 8% per year. After 30 years, he has $750,000. Person B starts exactly the same way, but he activated a legal cheat code in the government's tax laws. Specifically, he used a tool called accelerated depreciation from owning rental real estate. Let me explain it simply. When you own a rental property, the government allows you to depreciate the value of the building on paper, even while its actual value in real life is increasing. This paper loss can be used to wipe out the taxable income from your main job. What is the result? Person B, with a salary of $150,000, pays almost not a single dollar in federal income tax. This helps him keep an additional $60,000 every year. And here is the key. He doesn't use that money to buy luxury cars or go on vacations. He reinvests that entire $60,000 every year into other high-growth assets, perhaps more real estate, a little Bitcoin, or tech stocks. Do you see? The power of compounding now doesn't just act on the initial 5% savings, but on the entire $60,000 of taxes kept each year. That is the rocket engine that propels his fortune from $750,000 to $90 million. Real wealth doesn't come from a sudden stroke of luck or a lottery ticket. It comes from you actively choosing which operating system you will run on. Always remember this: revenue, or your salary, is just raw material. Without wealth engineering, without an operating system designed to retain and multiply, that money will flow out of your pocket as fast as it came in. If you are ready to stop hoping and start designing your roadmap to join the top 1%, please hit like and subscribe to the channel. Because in the following videos, we will dive deep together into each module and advanced feature of this operating system. Thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself today. I wish you success on the path to conquering financial freedom. See you in the next video.